The Espresso hotline has had a number of calls from people asking for dental advice, and why not? Your teeth are very important. And to answer all your queries, we've enlisted the help of dentist Dr. Marc Mortiboys.
Mortiboys.
That's a good name. Where's
yeah.
that from?
So, from Montdubois. It's a French origin, Huguenot origins.
Right,
from many.
Okay, so well, we'll get to know this hopefully, because you've got a very different approach to dentistry, haven't you?
Yeah, I'd say it's very much a whole body approach, rather than just seeing teeth. As me as a dental specialist, as a tooth specialist, I tend to now integrate a lot of other forms of medicine and other forms of complementary work to my healthcare.
Oh, really?
And sometimes that obviously involves working with other practitioners, but predominantly I can certainly do a lot of diagnosis myself and then maybe refer people to specialists.
Right,
and
like also you look at the whole psychology of
psychology,
teeth as well,
very much so,
Too many of us, and I think mainly men, a bit frightened of you. So we've got a friendly dentist for you here, and we've got a phone call, hopefully on the line now, is Mandy Dillon, calling from Swansea. Hello, Mandy.
Hi there.
And what sort of teeth have you got, Mandy?
Well, they're fine, but I don't really have a problem with my teeth at the moment. I just have a nagging worry.
Right, which is what?
Well, I haven't been to the dentist for 8 years.
Oh.
I'm starting to feel pretty bad about it, and I recently moved to Swansea from London, and I've just signed up with a new doctor, so I thought it would be a good idea to sign up with a new dentist. But I'm quite scared because the last time I went to the dentist 8 years ago, I had some veneers fitted to my front teeth, and it cost me over £300. And it was just such a terrible shock, the money, that I can't face.
You're avoiding
going
it.
back for a checkup.
I don't think you're the only one here, love. I've just had the same problem, and I spent 550.
Oh my God!
But I actually was going to an NHS dentist, and I needed extra treatment. So, could you help her?
Certainly. Well, hi there, Mandy.
Hi.
Right. First of all, I certainly urge you as soon as possible to register with a dentist. And if you want to see a national health dentist, there will be national health dentists in the area, even though they have reduced over the last few years, and there's many reasons for that, and if you want me to explain I can later on. But for you, the best advice would be either to speak to your doctor and ask whether there's a dental practice near the doctor's surgery, or maybe just call up your local family health authority, and they should give you a whole list of dentists. Or why not just speak to a few local friends and ask for anyone that they recommend in the area.
But the problem is that there's so many things that you go along, and there's only certain things that are paid for on the NHS, aren't there?
That's right.
What do you have to pay for privately? What's extra?
Well, what's happened since April this year, there's been some new legislation that now fundamentally means that even with an NHS dentistry, you have to pay 80% towards your costs.
80%?
80%. And there's also a limit now of £330 that you actually have to pay. So up to £330 is included. And the concern now is also that because of government restrictions or NHS restrictions, less and less materials are now being accepted on the NHS. So if you want anything a little bit more quality, or certainly a little more, certainly cosmetically more quality, then one does have to opt to have private ways of actually funding that.
And that costs a fortune. Now, so actually, you can't reassure them.
Is it a fortune? That's what I always say. I say to people, compared to how much you use your teeth, and compared to, say, maybe going to have a quote for a a car repair, £300 or £400 for a new clutch or new brakes. Most people don't worry about that, but they suddenly go, oh my God, £300 for my teeth. Yes. It's a real shock, and I think the main shock is because we're not used to paying it in the past.
So to Mandy, you would say, I'm afraid you're going to have to accept if anything major needs to be done, you're going to have to pay quite a lot, even if you are NHS. Yeah. But what would you say to her about not having been for 8 years?
Well, first of all, I tend to put a lot of people's fears at rest by saying that just because you haven't been to the dentist for 8 years, as long as you've been having a good diet, as long as you've been looking after your oral health, then doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have lots of cavities or lots of repair work to your teeth. So fingers crossed that's going to be the case, but certainly don't let that put you off any further to get that dental examination as soon as possible.
Mandy?
Yeah, hi.
You still there?
Yeah.
So I think the message is go along and find an NHS one, go along and have a check. Of course, if you can't afford it, you don't have to have it done, do you?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, you know, they can't force you, they can't pin you down.
I think I'll have to force myself to go and
well,
get
Mandy, if I
checked
just interject, if you're finding difficulty paying for your dentistry, what's most important is you have disease in your mouth, at least have temporary fillings put in, have the disease removed, and then fund your dentistry thereafter, and make a plan with your dentist to actually fund quality dentistry once the disease is out of your mouth.
It's true, you'd do it with your car, wouldn't you, love?
Oh, I would, absolutely.
Okay,
stuff.
love.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
your
very
advice,
much. I think we've got another phone call now from Sarah Brown from Plymouth.
Hello there.
Hello, Sarah.
Hiya.
What's your problem? Your dental worry?
Well, the thing is, I've just gone along to my dentist, and apparently I need a couple of fillings. But I've heard lots of things about mercury fillings, and I'm a little bit concerned about that.
Mercury fillings. I didn't know they used mercury. Tell it what's.
Well, the filling that I think Sarah, isn't it? I think what Sarah's talking about is the amalgam filling. Now, is that what you've been told that you've got to have?
Well, he didn't really say, but I've just heard something about the dark fillings that they normally use.
Right.
I've heard that there's health scares or something.
Well, they are. I mean, they're usually called silver fillings, but in fact they are predominantly mercury. There's about 50% of the material is mercury, and about 30% is silver, with a few other metals in there. So in theory, it should really be called a mercury filling. But it has been used for over 150 years, and the American Dental Association, British Dental Association, still feel that it's safe enough to be putting in people's mouths. Although there's question now whether it's safe to be putting in people's mouths if you're pregnant or maybe even now lactating, because it has been shown scientifically to leak out into through the placenta and actually into babies and also into breast milk.
And do what?
Well, mercury at the end of the day is a nerve toxin, but what everyone is saying at the moment is that it's a safe level of mercury, even though the World Health Organization will say there's no safe limit, and because of this, in certain countries like Germany and Sweden, it's been phased out very, very quickly. And in fact, Swedish dentists now are actually qualifying without having actually used that kind of material.
So, in answer to Sarah's question, do you think she should avoid it? And choose something else?
That's a political debate, and there's a lot of dentists who will be pro it, and there'll be a lot of dentists against it. And there's a growing number of dentists now that think, well, even just on a cosmetic level, why have a grey-black filling when you can have a white filling? And what I feel more importantly is that every patient should really be given a choice of what kind of material it's used, and given full explanation of what the different costs are, the different time implications, and then let the patient choose what they should actually have in their mouth.
Rather than just taking the professional's view and doing what they say. You have a right. So, okay, Sarah, you're not pregnant or lactating, are you?
No.
Right, okay, so it doesn't sound like you've much to worry about, but you do have a right. You do have a right to a choice.
Brilliant, thanks
so
so much.
The consumer's choice for dentistry as well. Thank you very much indeed,
That's
Mark.
a pleasure.
That was extremely helpful. Now, if there's a problem, dental or otherwise, that we can help you with, the Espresso Problem Hotline is open. So do call us on 01703 712 510. That's 01703 712 510. Alternatively, you can write to us at Espresso TV